Good afternoon. Good evening, I should say. I'm trying to figure out where this should be. We're going to call the regular board meeting of Tuesday, January 25th, 2022 to order. Mr. Steckschulte, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gherkin?
Here.
Mr. Parker? Here. Mrs. Varwig?
Here.
Mr. Vasquez? Here. Ms. Barnes?
Present. Thank you. I believe we have some students who are going to recite the pledge for us, yes?
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm sorry I didn't introduce those students. This is Escuela Smart students? Yep.
That is correct. Reciting the pledge both in English and Spanish. Excellent job.
All right, thank you. And Dr. Durant, keep right on going and give us the mission and vision statement.
Yep, Toledo Public School's mission is to produce competitive college and career-ready graduates through a rigorous curriculum across all grade levels by implementing Ohio's learning standard with fidelity. Our vision statement strives to be an A-rated school district whose graduates are college and career-ready. Thank you.
Thank you. And just to go to section 2, presentations, Dr. Durant.
I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Mazur.
Good evening.
Ms. Mazur is in the back.
Here I am. We have several things to celebrate here tonight, and the first is Mr. Jabril Wiley. High school graduation is a memory that all graduates cherish, as it is the next step toward the future. Jabril had planned to graduate in the spring. However, his plans were unfortunately postponed when he learned he did not qualify for graduation due to not passing the science requirement for the OGT. While he was disappointed, he did not let this setback dissuade him. He refused to give up. Jabril is described by one of his mentors and his counselor, Jody Krall, as being a very kind, thoughtful, and respectful young man. As he persevered and prepared to retake the OGT, he kept a smile on his face and promised Dr. Smith, the principal at Scott, that he would not give up. Dr. Smith made sure of that. He would always share encouraging words with Jabril and reminded him that if he continued to believe in himself, he would pass the OGT. Mr. Joe Peterson from Scott also shared words of encouragement with Jabril when he would see him, whether it was at school or outside of school. They were always seen sharing a laugh, having a great conversation, and sharing a bro hug. Ms. Krall ended her comments about this inspirational young man by saying, "In my humble opinion, his determination, grit, and belief in himself is the epitome of what it means to be a Scott Bulldog." Jabril represents the best of what it is to be a Scott Bulldog, but more importantly, he represents that of our youth, the good in our youth, who refuse to give up on themselves. While the Board of Education approved Jabril Wiley's graduation as part of the fall graduates, tonight he is here so we can all congratulate him for his perseverance, his determination, and more importantly, for being a TPS proud graduate and a graduate of Jessup Wakeman Scott High School. The entire faculty and staff from Scott are so very proud of you and wish you nothing but the best in your future. Dr. Durant has your diploma.
I saw you up there, back there. And now, the moment we have all been waiting for. Please give a warm congratulations to a man who would not be stopped, a man who would not give up, persevere, and he shall come and accomplish. Let's give it up to Jabril Wiley, 2021 graduate of Scott High School.
So let's. That's right. We're gonna get some pictures. We usually do this.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're gonna-
Congratulations. Have a great evening. And now I would like to introduce Ashley Yolkum from the TPS Foundation. She is here tonight to talk about the Creative Impact Grants and highlight the educators across the district who were awarded this year's grants.
Thank you so much for having us here today. I really appreciate it. Ooh, that's not the right slide. There's another PDF. Is there another one? No. That won't work at all? It's okay. It'll work. We'll make it work. How about that? So, I do want to thank all the educators that are here today. I understand with the school being closed, it was, everyone's day off. So I really appreciate them all being here. I wanted to give you some stats on our Creative Impact Grants. We had quite a few schools that were awarded grants this year, a little bit different than years past. So I'm thrilled about that. The application was open from August through November. We had a total of 94 applications throughout the district, way more than last year, so I'm thrilled about that. I understand last year was a weird year. We were in and out of school. We all weren't sure what was going to be going on. And we awarded 17 grants total, totaling in $27,240. So we're very excited, a little bit more than last year. So again, very excited about that. I'm going to go through some of the slides that the individuals are not here today. So if you do have any questions, I apologize. I may not have the answers. And then each person that is here who sees their slide are also going to come up and present. So we had a Hawkins Learning Lab, and that's Jeffrey Hodges. Very excited about this one. Saw the space myself on Friday. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for the students. We had some Hawkins students out for a different reason out at Natural Science Academy. And it's just awesome that they can literally walk right over. It's a great addition. So he's building an addition, different things going on there with different tables, learning, bringing their learning lab back over to ANSTAT, or Natural Science, I apologize. And I think having the students, the high school students help with elementary students is going to be phenomenal. It was pretty awesome seeing them interact with the different Creative Impact Grant that I was viewing on Friday. Next slide. Another sensory path, which I think is incredible. Not a lot of schools I'm finding outside of this district have those, and they're starting to incorporate those. So it's very exciting. That's Lindsay over at Garfield. Next slide. And I can send you guys this as well so you can take a look at it in depth. STEM activities for growing minds. That's Andrea Johnson out at Marshall STEM. Very exciting for those. I know we have a lot of those in the district, but I think it's great to spread those out to different, with building and Legos and so forth like that. Next slide. Again, science with stemming. That's Janelle over at Beverly. Excited to see what she can do with those and her kits. Next slide. Allison, this is a picture that I didn't show. I apologize. Forensic science unit. Very excited about that as well for the high school students over at Bowser. Next slide. And Brian, apologize if Headshot's not there. Individualized heart tracking, rate tracking, which I think is, incorporating technology into physical education, which is a huge plus. Next slide. Erin Clinton, thinking outside the box with her prairie installation at the zoo last year. I think this is going to be a great addition to McKinley. Next slide, and we'll start with Ann.
So I'm Ann Tenai, I teach at Rogers High School. The little music note you see there is actually painted on the little tiny corner you see in that big white thing. There's 64 feet of blank white hallway. And we're putting together a little bit of a couple different artists, kind of a little Matisse idea. We found some other designs, and my art club is going to paint it for the music students. So we're going to put that together. And the hallway gets a lot of traffic with the custodial gear and things like that. So the bottom half of the hallway is going to be just painted black for the lower half. So even though it's 64 feet, it's a little bit more manageable. It's kind of, to me, I kind of think of it as 32 feet because it's a lot of space. But we're putting together, keep hearing some of the musical instruments along with some of the music notes and things like that. The music staff on either end.
Lisa wasn't able to make it today. And another art teacher out at Raymer, art and writing in motion, so combining the two. I think this is also going to be a really great grant to see come to light. As you can see, kind of hard to see, I apologize, in the stairwell there out at Raymer. Different items going to be created and curated there. Next slide. Oh.
Hi, my name is James Foose. I'm an art teacher at Bowser. My Creative Impact Grant is centered around art and technology. So recently, this past school year, we were lucky enough to receive 28 iPad Pros and Apple Pencils. And so I kind of have this vision of where to take that, how to incorporate and sew together those technological new ways of creating art and kind of create product as well. Ultimately, end game is kind of creating like a store for the community to purchase Bowser related items, whatever the machines might make. And also having the kids take their art and turn it instantly into product right before their very eyes with very simple, relatively cheap machines. And I think that what that's going to do is kind of develop that side hustle. So when they get out of school, if they decide to do something with their artwork for, I don't know, $500 or something, they could start their own business. And I could see the future kind of going that way. So what we have here is the Epson is a sublimation. It's not a sublimation printer. It's an Epson photo printer. But what you do is instead of loading it with photo ink, you load it with sublimation ink. And then once you do that, you're kind of stuck with it. You can't swap back and forth inks. So that's going to be purely for t-shirts. And what sublimation printing does is it just prints nice and flat on a t-shirt without any vinyl, without any raised surface that gets cracked in the dryer. So that's going to be for t-shirt making. Then there's two Cricut machines. One's a Cricut Maker and the other one's a Cricut Explorer. The Cricut Maker is kind of like your powerhouse. It can cut leather, chipboard, all sorts of thicker materials. And then the Cricut Explorer will be used for mostly vinyl, stencil cutout, stickers, stuff like that. And then there's like a mug thing so that you can make cups with it. And that's kind of the game plan. And from here, I'm planning on taking the money that the store makes and dumping that back in to purchase more equipment, better equipment, ultimately looking to get like a laser etcher so we can do like laser etching. I think that would be really fun. Any questions? Awesome, thanks. Right? Absolutely, it's definitely going to be some setup involved, and I mean I know how to use it a little bit, but like I'm not like the Cricut king or whatever, you know. I got some learning to do myself. So, but after I get it up and running, hopefully by next year all the kinks will be worked out. It's truly a work in progress, but yeah, absolutely. And not only that, I mean, it helps them with college too, because using the technology and seeing the output factor of that tech is really like super beneficial. Without that, they kind of go in blind. They don't have that experience. So, yep. Thanks.
Cassandra couldn't make it today last minute, so I do apologize for that. Aiming for the Moon is for hers. Bowser, 11th and 12th grade, so very excited for this one as well. Rockets and Aiming for the Moon. Next slide. Hi, my name is Carrie Christie. I teach students with multiple disabilities at level at K-2. This grant is for all students though in K-8 and multiple disability. It is a cooking grant that will allow us to purchase equipment and small appliances so that we can cook with our students and share with them the value of learning how to make healthy, nutritious meals, how to shop, how to cook on a budget, all the important skills they're going to need for the future, hopefully so that they can learn independent living skills one day. So my students are very excited. They love to eat things they cook. We're very excited to gain the ability to make more things in our building. Any questions? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Heather Hughes, and I'm the speech language pathologist at Burndale Elementary. We have a lot of students with a lot of different needs, and we just felt like we needed a space. One of the things we're focusing on throughout the district is the social emotional learning and teaching kids how to self-monitor and have self-control and be self-aware. And we have limited space in our building, so we were looking at ways as how we can maximize the space. We have one hallway. It's not 60 feet. I wish it were, but that's open. That would be, isolated. And so we thought if we could have a sensory path for some of our younger students and start instilling some of those skills of how to ask for a break, someplace they can go for a break, and different things that they can do to calm and be ready to learn. So we did our grant on sensory path, and we were able to get, with that money, we'll be able to get for the hallway for everyone to use. And then we have some specific classrooms that have students who have some behavioral needs, and we were able to get individual smaller units for inside those classrooms so it could be easier and not so disruptive to the rest of the room if they could just go into the back of the classroom. And so we're hoping that we know we'll see some positive behavior changes in some of our students and less time out of the classroom. So, thank you.
Hi, my name is Lori Pokrivka. I'm a second grade teacher over at Marshall STEM. And my grant was for getting some Lego sets, the Lego brick building, to get some more hands-on experience for my little ones in the class. And these modules are great because they start off very with a defined question, but then it also leads them to start using their own questioning. They can use their own ideas. and it becomes a lot more student-led as they go. And it also helps our students learn how to work collaboratively together. So I think they'll be very excited to use these. I'm Peggy Martinez. I'm the art teacher at Westfield. So our students are working on social skills and working on interpersonal skills and fostering those. So we're doing a project called Identities at Westfield, and we've got 5 different art projects that they'll be working on that focus on fostering those skills. So, for example, one of those projects is they're going to be creating a clay coil pot, and in the pot, there'll be one important thing I forgot to talk about. When we need extra support, I've talked with the tackle team and with our counselor, and they'll be in there for extra support as needed. So for the clay vessel project, they'll be writing down their fears, and those are completely private. So we'll be talking about the topic in class, but they'll be taking those fears, writing them down. They'll be going in the completed vessel, and then it goes in the kiln, and the kiln kind of burns away those fears. So that's one example of one project and how we're working with it. They're going to be working on different affirmations and talking about just, again, those social skills and working on being able to express themselves in a positive way. So yeah, we're really excited. Does anyone have any questions? Yeah.
My name is Robin Hage, and my grant that I received is not for myself and in my curriculum that I teach. It's for the district level. We had a very generous donor who gave to the Toledo Foundation and specified that it had to be used for local history. Ashley contacted me and said, Robin, do you have a suggestion? I said, absolutely, I do. So as we approach the 175th anniversary of Toledo Public Schools, it's my goal to get an Ohio historical marker erected at Scott High School first, and then wait, since Scott did come first. So the generous donation will cover almost the entirety of the purchase of the marker. It takes about a year to get the application process through. So the first time we would actually be notified that it was approved would be a year from now. And I do want to thank whoever called a snow day today, because I spent many hours working on it today. So thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And we just have Lindsay Lemley, who also could not be here today, with a Move It, another outdoor, oh my goodness, sensory path. Oh my goodness, sorry about that. Do you guys have any questions? And I really appreciate your time and letting us be here today. Any questions?
Madam President? Yes. I don't have a question per se, but I thank you to the TPS Foundation, first and foremost. I love the foundation. And thank you to the teachers that were willing to come out on your snow/weather day. We certainly appreciate you coming in. I just want to thank you. This is exactly, I'm so proud to be part of TPS after witnessing what I just witnessed. It shows the dedication of our staff and what they're willing to do to go kind of outside the box, creative thinking for our students. This is just another example of why we should all be TPS proud. So thank you for what you do each and every day.
Thank you. Anyone else on this topic?
No, I just wanted to bring up the fact that I want to thank you, and I want to thank the foundation. And I just wanted to let you know how pleased I am with the foundation and how strong it is. In the past, we had some times where we struggled. And I want to thank Ms. Barwick for taking a special interest a few years ago in the foundation. Ms. Yolkum, I want to thank you. The foundation, in doing these kinds of projects, really shows a commitment to TPS. But what it shows even more, and Mr. Schulte will verify this, is that we had a presentation to bond agencies in Chicago. And one of the things that we had to show, and Dr. Durant knows, he was part of the presentation, is the commitment that the community has in TPS. And that's one of the things that they think is important when looking at our full financial health. A lot people can't make that leap from how does that help you, the financial presentation. It helps us because it shows the commitment and the financial commitment that we make in our community to the public schools. So I want to thank you for that. I want to thank everybody for the creativity and being able to come up with projects for our students and able to use that money. So I just wanted to mention that.
I just want to echo what my fellow board members said thus far is like, thank you for being so creative. I am blown away about some of those projects, and please invite me to the classroom when it's a little bit safer, especially for the Legos and the cooking. I am there. But thank you for thinking outside of the box to think about how to educate our kids in a different way, in a unique way, and using imagination. And I just can't thank you enough for doing that and bringing something new to our students. And having them fall in love with education. So thank you.
Thank you. And again, we echo the sentiments of our board members. Thank you for the job that you're doing. I too want to be invited when you guys start doing things, especially the cooking as well. And so thank you again, Foundation, and all that have taken part in to making this happen. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I think isn't the current campaign all in for, yep, we're all in. We're definitely all in for the foundation. And I definitely appreciate all that you're doing. And what we just witnessed here was educators coming forward and talking about how they bring learning to life, for their students. It's this ongoing trend towards project-based learning, which we want to see as much of as possible, whether you're a STEM school or not. And it's, just brilliant work. I'm going to add a caveat to my thanks by reminding the administration that we really love everything the foundation is doing, but it gives me a little pause to think that educators have to compete for the materials that they need to bring learning to life in their classrooms. So I just need you to know that as a board member that we are continuously challenging the administration to make that not so that we can continue to bring these projects to life within the budgets and the funding that we have, and then the foundation can take it even further when the time, the partnership has to be there, but I don't think we should have to compete to bring education to life in our classrooms. I think we should fund it. And so I'm just making sure I'm on the record for that. Appreciate all of you. Thank you. I think we have one more presentation.
Yes, we do. And this is, again, as I said earlier, tonight is all about celebration. And right now we are going to celebrate the work of our board members. January is Board Member Appreciation Month, and it is recognized across the state of Ohio. And tonight we, as the entire district, would like to thank our dedicated board for the work that you do each and every day. In front of you, you have a gift from the students from Mrs. Music's first grade class from Escuela Smart Academy. They had personally designed artwork for each of you, and the words that they included reinforce the sentiment of your work. And they say, you hold the future of the world in your hands. Thank you for focusing on the future success of our children. We appreciate all that you do. We also have marquees changed around the district that also recognize the board and show appreciation for all the work and support that you all provide us. And so it is with sincere appreciation that we recognize your exemplary leadership and commitment to public education, and certainly for all being TPS proud.
Thank you so much for that. I love gifts from the kids. Like because it just reminds you of why you invest all of your time and energy and away from your own family. Because I consider all of our TPS kids my family. I just love this. Thank you so much for recognizing us. We do not get into this position for that in any way, shape, or form. But it certainly is so nice to be recognized, especially with gifts from the kids. Thank you.
that we just have the retirements to recognize, and these are retirees who have served TPS more than 25 years. And we have Helen Schuff. She is a fourth grade teacher at Riverside Elementary. She's retiring with 35 years of service. I know she was planning to attend tonight, but maybe the weather kept her at home. Randall S. Myers, math teacher at Bowser with 36 years of service. And that is a total of 71 years of service to Toledo Public Schools and our students. And we certainly thank them for all that they've done.
Thank you. That brings us to section 3 of our agenda, community comments. The board recognizes Ms. Takesha Smith, and the treasurer will read the policy for community comments as she makes her way to the podium or to the microphone.
The board values the input of citizens and community members regarding all aspects of the district. The board understands that education is the center of all community issues and activities, and that input is important because it allows the board to hear all views on all matters. In order to ensure a quality public comment portion during board meetings, all citizens and community members who are scheduled to speak before the board shall abide by these general rules. 1, each speaker has 3 minutes unless modified by the board president. 2, the time will be displayed for the speaker and public to see. The treasurer will announce when time has expired. 3, any questions that speakers would like responses to should be submitted in writing, and the board president will secure answers within a reasonable time frame, normally 7 to 10 days, depending on the amount of research required to provide a comprehensive response and the time-sensitive nature of the question. 4, board members will not engage in policy dialogue with speakers, but will use their established committee format to have substantive dialogue. The public comment section is the opportunity for the board to listen to all citizens and community members and make contact with speakers following the meeting for individual feedback and questions. The general guidelines are established as a way to provide the maximum opportunity for board members to listen to citizens and community members and provide an organized and structured procedure for feedback that will help our students and families.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Smith.
Oh, it's you. First thing, I wanted to say, after bringing my situation to light to Toledo Public or to the principal, the first thing I was offered was a group email by the principal, and the ombudsman was to switch her schools. Not let me check into this and suggest a group email until investigation is complete. I felt that the student and parents of the teachers should have been questioned to make sure that it's an ongoing covered up. It's not an ongoing covered up situation, and it shouldn't take a child coming up missing in order for TPS to take this serious situation more serious than what they have thus far. I overlooked the first 2 times it happened without note because she made it to the relative's car. But if it was a different car or a car that looked similar or a classmate's car, she said, she could have come up missing, and then what then? This shouldn't have even been the case if the teacher is just paying attention to what he or she should be doing. And the straw that broke the camel's back was when on October 26th, not 1, but 5 times in one day was his teacher notified, plus a 6th when my child politely said that she is supposed to be on the bus Tuesday and car Wednesday. This teacher, instead of reading the notes given to her, she decided to make the executive decision to put her, I don't know where, which led to me being called to pick her up from the office. And I was told by the staff member that she thought Tuesday was Wednesday, and that is not good. And many other situations have happened thus far that I've stated in previous conversations and meetings, but nothing to my satisfaction according to all that has happened, happened to my student. According to all that happened, had it been a student, it would have been expelling or removing the student from TPS. But since it's a teacher, the student that helps keep those school systems afloat don't matter. After being videoed here a month ago, the teacher had shown this video to her family with intent of harm because of being exposed of her wrongdoings towards my child. And now the teacher's sister recently approached me with a threat, and now I fear for my safety of me and my family. and will up to stand my ground if needed. So I expect TPS to let me know if me and my family lives matter. Back in November, she was asked by myself and Lisa Janowski for a timeline of how my daughter's homework and schoolwork are A's, but yet her permanent record shows C's and D's. Thus far today, I have not received anything. If a parent or teacher is, a parent or student is asked for something, they're given an expiration date, the teacher, I guess it doesn't matter. And like I said, she didn't apologize for what she had done back in October, not until after Mrs. Janowski told her to. Then she called me a week later, which I don't know. I was not going to accept that. And the grades in the grade book and her schoolwork sent home don't match up. This isn't her permanent record. I'm not sure if this is for, like I said, the failing school system to get a check. I'm not sure, but this doesn't make any sense. My student, my child, is one of the best behaved students in that school system, but for her grade card, it looks like she's not. I go over everything with my child to make sure she understands everything and comprehends everything, but it's just not adding up. And TPS strives for excellence. I'm struggling for equality and truth and correct punishment for this teacher, which is for her to be fired. My daughter recites everything that she's learned when she comes home from school. And no one has asked my child how she feels in private. So she looks and feels great during the school day, but when she comes home, she's sad.
Ms. Smith, your time is up. Thank you for your comments. I trust that Dr. Durant will have his staff continue to work with you to resolve the issues that you're experiencing.
I have one more question. Just only one. Only thing I'm asking is that whenever I come here, the last time I came here, you guys had Christmas carolers, and I understand we are introducing new technology with the group that just came up. They were up here at least 30 minutes. When we have a concern for our student, we only give them 3 short minutes. I would like them to really prove that TPS, the students that come to y'all school to help y'all sit here today, to help, fund the schoolings, we get more time up here because we get 3 short minutes. That's not fair.
Thank you. So we're ready for section 4, organizational input, and I believe that Mr. Ramirez is the only one from this list representing TAP. Maybe.
So I do want to thank, it's appropriate that it's a board member recognition month. We have Randall Parker here as his first regular board meeting again. So I appreciate you being here. I do want to recognize the current board that we have. If you look at this makeup of this, probably the most multicultural board group we've had ever. I do want to say I've been here for 25 years, and this is the most workable board committee that we've had. So Randall, you're coming into a good group of folks, and hopefully you fit in well, and I'm sure you would. So I thank you and congratulations. I also would like to shout out for my wife, Sarah Ramirez, for Mom's a Man action over there. You see him in the red shirt, so I'm sure you'll hear about that later, but Happy New Year. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we are 2 comments by the board. Let's start at this end. Mr. Vasquez, you good?
Yeah, one of the things I want to just tell everyone about is I had the opportunity to visit Marshall School, and I was there as a representative of the board and also representative of Toledo Zoo. They had a project where they're going to do a prairie, one of our native prairies on the property there, and that is a great project. But what I really want to talk about is just how proud I was of all the students. The whole program, and by program I mean all the speaking and everything, were done by 3rd and 4th graders, and they were excellent. They were just excellent. One young lady was the MC, and she introduced everybody. She ran the agenda. She pronounced everybody's name correctly, and there were several of us speakers. And then there was a young man that got up and described the project and how they were going to use it. It was just beyond belief at the presentation that these young people put on. I was on a high for the whole rest of the week, just seeing how our teachers prepared them. You know, our staff was just fantastic. There had to be a lot of work to go into that. I would say we as adults, we don't always have things go smoothly when we put on programs, and we don't pronounce names, and we don't necessarily manage the agenda as well as these young people did. It was a sight to behold. I just have to tell you, and if you can't get from my excitement, and anybody here knows, I don't get excited about a lot of things. I don't show it a lot. I'm a pretty serious guy. This stuff was just fantastic. I was on a high. I was on a high for a week. I couldn't call enough people, and I'm sure that they were just listening to me to get away from me. But it was fantastic, and I think it's something that we can all be proud of. As TPS proud. So I just wanted to mention that part of it. So you know, if you get a chance and get in front of a presentation for my students, do that. This is, you know, when you get this kind of thing as a board member, I need to let you know it makes me very uncomfortable because I don't like to be singled out and I don't like to be recognized. This is a labor of love. It makes me extremely uncomfortable. I appreciate it. Don't take me wrong. I just don't expect it. So thank you.
Well, I think I've already made some comments earlier. I will just say that, you know, this year, I normally go to the Federal Relations Network with the Ohio School Board Association to the National School Board Association conference, and this year I did not. With that said, because Ohio School Board Association has chosen to remove themselves from NSBA, and for various reasons, they are planning, just so you guys know, on having additional Federal Relations Network opportunities later this year, as well as CUBE opportunities. So it won't be CUBE, but it will be similar to. There will be a group of states that are going to be joining together to a consortium is what they kind of call it right now. But we will, as soon as I know more, then I will make sure that all of you are aware of that, so that we can continue doing the federal advocacy that we normally do. So just giving you guys an update.
I want to echo Mr. Ramirez. Thank you again for your recognizing me as a new school board member. I think it's funny on appreciation. I've only been here 2 weeks, so I don't know how much accolades I can get for that. But thank you to the staff and to the students, of course, who is the why we do what we do. To the families, the parents, and all of them. For me, watching this board and watching how you all operate and function from the outside was an appreciation and respect. To see how you all made decisions to really strive to do what is best, to really go for the bigger picture, was appreciation from the outside looking in. So when the opportunity arose, I wanted to be a part and be connected with this team and the things that you're doing and the heart that you have. So thank you again. It doesn't sound like a broken record, but thank you again for the opportunity to serve again. And I'm humbled and honored to do so. Looking forward to going forward and doing my part to keep the district from the board level at the level that you guys have established. Thank you.
Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Madam President. So first, I want to say I think the shout out covered him not wearing the shirt today. I'm just saying, yeah. And second, thank you for coming out. I know the roads are iffy, and hopefully, no, we're going to be safe driving home. But I want to remind you that we are forced to come in person as school board elected officials in Ohio, thanks to some state leaders who feel that our safety, whether it's COVID related or weather related, is not that important. So thank you for braving the weather and coming to join us this evening. We had so many highlights tonight. Oh my goodness. And I think I can speak for the board when I say this is definitely why we do it, not because we can pay for that Bentley that's outside. I'm just joking. We do not drive Bentleys. Please do not write that in the blade. But also just to see that we are making a difference. And Dr. Durant, thank you for your leadership. And I know I can speak as a parent. Sometimes we get frustrated when we see things open or closed. But thank you for graciously doing what's best for our district. I know that's not easy. I know my boys really loved you this morning. But I know it's the hard work of, love for this district with your team, our admin team. And this makes it a lot easier to be board members because we have great leadership and that we could follow. Because I think the board members should follow the administration because you're the boots on the ground. So thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to just say one thing about the joy of recognizing a single student for graduation. As you saw, that makes us very happy. We usually oversee graduations in the spring. Each of us do a couple of schools, and in that situation, we get to shake every graduate's hand, sometimes like hundreds, depending on the school. So we're always like, oh my gosh, it's a graduate, yay. We do continue to approve graduates several times during the school year, so we stick with these kids all the way to sometimes 22 years old until they meet their graduation requirements. And so you'll see more graduates in tonight's curriculum action items. So we do that along the way, and we always invite the graduates who have persevered to be recognized at the board. And so we get excited when one takes us up on that. Also, we get excited when we have people in the room. So, we're talking a little more because you're here and there's someone to listen to. I always like to make sure that before we get into our action items, that folks understand that a lot of this work took place over the last month in committees where each of us have 3, and in some cases 4 committees that we meet with monthly. And that's where 2 board members and a liaison work on the business of the board in depth. Those are public meetings as well. Those agendas are posted on board docs, just like tonight's agenda is posted on board docs. Board docs is shorthand for the system we use. Every presentation we do, every agenda, every minute, every meeting minutes, they all show up there. You can get to board docs from our website. Anybody can see anything that we're working on all through the month. Eventually it shows up here in the form of a consent agenda, which is going to be one of our action items in a moment. I'm going to use that to actually go to our next section. We're going to move a walk-in up. That's usually at the end of our agenda because we're excited about having folks in the room to support on this topic. So I'm going to ask for Mr. Parker to read a resolution that the board will then take up here shortly. Okay?
Thank you, Madam President. Whereas the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District, the Board Policy JHF, Student Safety affirms that the safety of students is of concern to all teachers and other staff members, and special attention must be paid to maintaining a safe school environment. And whereas Board Policy JFCJ, Weapons in the Schools, affirm the board's commitment to providing the students of the district with an educational environment that is free of the dangers of firearms, knives, and other weapons, and prohibits students from possessing firearms on school premises. And whereas the board supports the right of students and staff to attend schools that are safe and free from violence. And whereas gun violence presents a clear and present danger to the students, parents, educators, administrators, and staff of the board. And whereas since 2013, there have been at least 835 instances of gunfire on the campus of K-12 schools and colleges in the United States, resulting in 270 deaths, 564 injuries on the campus of K-12 schools and colleges in the United States. And whereas since 2013 in the state of Ohio, there have been at least 7 deaths and 20 injuries on the campuses of K-12 schools and colleges from gunfire. And whereas House Bill 227 and Senate Bill 215 seek to eliminate the concealed carry handgun license requirement in order to carry a concealed handgun in public, which removes both safety training and background check requirements. And whereas House Bill 227 and House Bill 215 endanger schools, students, parents, educators, administrators, and staff throughout Ohio. And whereas gun violence and threats of gun violence in schools undermine the sense of security that all students should have in their learning environments. And whereas the board believes that school safety and freedom from gun violence are nonpartisan values and the responsibilities of all school community members and all stakeholders. Whereas sensible gun safety legislation will strengthen protections for our schools and students by preventing individuals with dangerous histories from attaining firearms. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Education of the Toledo City School District that the board opposes House Bill 227 and Senate Bill 215, which are currently under consideration by the Ohio State Legislature. The board wholly rejects any suggestion that it is either desirable or appropriate to arm teachers in schools for any purpose and will not support an effort to arm educators. The board endorses the efforts of Students Demand Action for Gun Sense in America to end gun violence. The board supports state and federal legislation for sensible gun violence prevention policies. This resolution shall be in full force and effect from and immediately after its adoption and shall supersede any prior resolution or act of this board, which may be inconsistent or duplicative with the provisions of this resolution. And it is hereby found and determined that all former actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were taken in an open meeting of this board, and that all deliberations of this board and of any of its committee that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code.
Thank you. I need a motion.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yes, I would like to first thank our Toledo chapter Student Demands Action. I work with the students and they're amazing, and their leadership to make sure that they have safety in their schools and the community is very empowering to me as an adult. And I couldn't ignore the fact that the powerhouse of Moms Demand Action and the leadership that you have and the opportunities you do when you do support and show up. As you can see, I have my red shirt on as well. The other red shirt, I have another one at home. But this is what the community needs to see. And I am so glad that I work for a board and administration that turns words into action. So with these types of resolutions that's coming forward, we're going to be talking about gun safety locks for our parents and how to have access to them in a safe, manageable way that is for all our community to feel safe when they receive those items. We're going to talk about the impact of trauma when we are dealing with increased gun violence in our community. And this is just the beginning step of the actions that we are seeing, like when we are getting our community partners together to look at every level that our students are facing in the community. The one thing I hate to say I'm proud of is that we actually put together a memorial process for our youth, our students that are taken from us by gun violence, where Dr. Durant led it up, and I am so happy that our families who lost their babies know that they are still part of TPS because we reach out to them with a card and a appreciation memorial. It's sad that we have to have that. And I'm so happy that we could come together and start making some change with actions. And I'm very proud to be a board member that will definitely say yes to this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to have a vote on this, and then I'm going to recognize the local Students Demands Action president. So in just a moment, we're going to introduce her to you. So if is there more discussion? Go ahead.
Yes, Madam President. I just want to remind folks that this is why local control matters. You know, here in our district, we don't need to have our educators with guns in their hands. They have their hands full in the classroom as it is. And adding that element doesn't make any sense. With that said, there are rural districts that may need someone to have access to a firearm because maybe the resources are not available for that rural district, that rural school where it may take 20 to 30 minutes to have someone get to their building if there was an incident with a firearm. But I'm so glad that, to be honest with you, that I live in a city that we have the resources available. We don't need to have our educators with guns in their hands at all. And I am going to be supporting this resolution in full force.
Madam President?
Yes.
I just want to say that in very strong terms, that here at Toledo Public Schools, I do not believe that any firearm should be anywhere in our schools with anyone inside the school or on our property. And I can't say that in the strongest terms. Anywhere. Firearms should not be anywhere on our property. And I just want to make sure that everybody understands that that's what I believe, and I'm going to be supporting the resolution as well.
Madam President, again, I echo the sentiments of our board members, the voice of support, and I wholeheartedly support this resolution as well. Thank you.
There's no other discussion. Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Varley,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez, Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
So the motion passes. And I do want to take this moment to recognize a young woman who is one of our students and is the local president of Students Demand Action, Ms. Cordelia Vandeveer. So I'm going to just give her the floor for a minute because we're very TPS proud of her on top of everything we already said about the work of Students Demand Action.
Yes, hello, thank you so much. My name is Cordelia Vanderveer, and I am a senior at Toledo Technology Academy, as well as a National Advisory Board member of Students Demand Action and the leader of Students Demand Action Toledo. Members of the Toledo Public Schools Board of Education and Dr. Durant, I want to thank you for addressing an issue that is unfortunately prevalent in our TPS community, gun violence. Gunfire at schools is just the tip of the iceberg. Every year, more than 3,500 children and teens are shot and killed, and 15,000 more are injured. An estimated 3 million children in the U.S. are exposed to shootings each year. Witnessing shootings, whether in their schools, their communities, or their homes, can have a devastating impact on students. Children exposed to violence, crime, and abuse are more likely to abuse drugs and alcohol, suffer from anxiety and PTSD, fail or have difficulties in school, and engage in criminal activity. School should be a safe haven from gun violence, but instead, students come to school each morning in fear of the shootings they see on their televisions. Their fears are justified. Just 100 miles from Toledo, a student from Oxford High School shot and killed 4 other students. Although we can never take away the pain and suffering of the Oxford survivors, we can take steps to prevent future incidents in the Toledo Public Schools and within our community. By passing this resolution, the Toledo Public Schools reaffirms their commitment to the safety and well-being of the 20,000 plus TPS students. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I don't know how many other ways we can say it, but this is why we do it. This is why we do this every time we get to hear from one of our awesome scholars.
Madam President,
yes,
may I interject? I want to say this is actually the first of its kind. The resolution is being passed tonight because we're talking about the intersectionality of gun violence. We're not just talking about a suburban situation, we're talking about the urban situation. So I think actually this is historical, and with the representation of Students Demand Action and Moms Demand Action in this room, I would love to get a picture, Dr. Durant and the board, because we are doing something that is needed around the country.
To the wall. Yes. Sure.
My name is Judy Harbaugh. I'm the volunteer local lead for Moms Demand Action. I just want you to know there's a major push across Ohio to have moms and students talk to the school boards to do the very same thing you're doing. I just want you to know that the leadership of Moms Demand Action is watching this tonight on your TPS stream. You are setting an example for the state of Ohio. We are very proud to be a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you. So we are to section 7, our consent agenda, and I'm just going to read through the topics here, and then we'll entertain a motion. Agenda items 701 through 731 are consent agenda items. Board members may request to pull an item from the consent and move to the discussion section of the agenda. Items 701 to 706 come from the Human Resources Staff Development and Training Committee, chaired by myself and co-chaired by Randall Parker. Items 707 and 7.17 come from the Finance and Business Operations Committee, chaired by Mr. Bob Vasquez and co-chaired by Mrs. Chris Barwick. Item 7.18 is the section for Technology Improvements and Processes Committee. There are no action items in that section this month. That is chaired by me, Polly Gherkin, and co-chaired by Bob Vasquez. Items 7.19 through 7.21 are from the Board Curriculum Instruction and Academic Excellence Committee, chaired by Polly Gherkin, co-chaired by Chris Barwick. Items 7.22 and 7.26 come to us from the Policy Committee. The chair is Ms. Sheena Barnes, and co-chair is Mr. Bob Vasquez. Item 7.27 is the Arts, Athletics, and Student Activities Committee. There are no action items this month. That chair is Mrs. Chris Barwick and co-chair Randall Parker. Item 7.28, Family and Community Engagement Committee. There are no action items this month, although I can say that they've been busy. They've been busy with community engagement. Chair Bob Vasquez and co-chair Sheena Barnes. And then items 7.29 and 7.31 are approval of board meeting minutes. And I believe that that is the extent of our consent agenda. I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Barley,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Thank you. Section 8 of the agenda consists of reports and minutes from this month's committee meetings and are here for information and reference. No action is required, so we can proceed to Section 9, which is the discussion section. I believe we have one item from the instructional section of HR. Item 9.01, I believe is the number now that we moved a few things around. I need a motion to approve discussion item 9.01, the
So moved.
instructional section.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Barley,
Abstain.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Thank you. Section 10 is our early childhood education action items. The chair is Machina Barnes and the co-chair is Randall Parker. I'm going to turn this over to Ms. Barnes as the chair and just mention briefly the reason this section stands out and is not part of our consent agenda is because Head Start requires a lot of additional oversight and separate votes for a lot of things. So our board always pulls those items separately. Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to turn it over to Dr. Amy Allen.
Thank you. We do have one action item this month. It is the selection criteria, which is a criteria that we use to determine the students that have the most need for our early childhood programs. And it is something that we revisit annually and make changes as needed.
So I need a motion for.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Barley,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.
Yes.
Are there any early childhood walk-ins? Okay. We are at the part of our agenda where we're asking our superintendent for comments.
Again, just want a reminder, here at downtown at the Huntington Center, our TPS Foundation is co-sponsoring a charity hockey game between our TPD officers along with Columbus police officers. All proceeds will support our PS 419, which is our police and fire group here in TPS. So again, be supportive of that. That's for Officer Diaz as well as Stalker, in support of these and in the memories of our fallen TPD officers. Also want to again congratulate and thank our board members in Appreciation Month. I'm a true believer as I speak to other superintendents, no matter how strong a superintendent or how strong a treasurer you have, if you don't have a strong board, schools do not succeed as well. And this board right here has been very strong, very consistent. At the same time, you know, bringing on Pastor Parker, who's already been here and worked with many of us already, shows the commitment to consistency that the board has shown the community and the students at TPS and staff. So again, thank you for all that you do, and happy Board Appreciation Month. TPS proud.
The only thing I have tonight is last week, Mr. Vasquez, Dr. D, and some others of us did our bond rating presentation, which is part of the process of refunding our debt. Refunding our debt is comparable to refinancing your house, except with a lot more steps. And
a lot more debt, I hope.
and a lot more debt, hopefully. But we should be getting those results back. Well, I checked my email, so it didn't come in yet, but they're supposed to be in tonight and tomorrow. So we should know sometime tomorrow how we did. We were hoping to increase or raise our rating at Moody's and S&P. We're assuming they're going to keep us where we were at. So it's all good news.
We like good news. Additional board member comments.
I don't have any more comments except for to say that I do appreciate the recognition as a board member, but what I really want to do is thank my fellow board members for everything that you do. because I think that you're really, really important. And I know all the work that you put into it, so thank you.
Madam President? Yeah, I would also like to thank my colleagues. You know what, we make a good team. I am proud to be a part of it. And because of what you have brought to me, I've been able to now head over to Ohio School Board Association and hopefully lead them coming next year. So I think it's really, you don't get to that point without the support of your fellow colleagues and the administration here as well. So thank you to each of you for your support. You know what, I will just tell you, Dr. Durant, I know that you're either a hero or not, right? Depending on snow weather day. Everyone is waiting to see what we're going to do for tomorrow morning. But I will tell you, my 5-year-old granddaughter, when she heard that there was no school, almost started crying because her teacher was going to miss her so much. So I will tell you, as much as all of the adults are like, woohoo, you know what? Kids still want to go to school. So not encouraging one way or the other. I'm just saying. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam President. Again, thank you all so much. I do want to say that coming back to the board, that the staff, the administration, and the Ms. Myers, I want to thank you too for helping assist me in a situation I felt really important this past week. And so just the ability to be hands-on, it means a lot. And I think that this is a great district. I've thought that ever since my kids were kids. Ms. Barr, we've talked about how her grandchild was sad. That was not the testimony in my home. This morning, I've never seen Cameron dance so much. But thank you again. Thank you, Dr. Durant, for all that you do, and forever TPS proud. Thank you.
Ms. Barnes.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to mention real quick, so action items from the board will, start looking and coming from our FACE committee. We do a lot of work, but I think that's the committee where we are engaging, because it stands for Family and Community Engagement. And so this is where we start talking and have a conversation about the Student Demand Resolution. This is where we're having conversation about how can we make our school district better experience for our students, our staff, and our families. So once again, it is open to the public, and I am looking forward to the leadership that Mr. Vasquez have in that committee and what good things are coming out of that. And please drive safely.
Thank you, everyone. I have nothing to add except for, we've got another meeting in the books, and we'll get back to work in just probably a few days on our next round of committee meetings, and see you next month, everyone. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Saying no discussion, Treasurer, please call the roll.
Mrs. Gerken,
Yes.
Mr. Parker,
Yes.
Mrs. Harwick,
Yes.
Mr. Vasquez,
Yes.
Ms. Barnes.